You can fail your driving test for a mistake that you don't even make. Literally, somebody else can do something wrong and you can fail because of it. And this is a question that comes up all the time. And somebody asked me again recently, if I'm doing a driving test, somebody else makes a major mistake, so it's not my fault, can that person cause me to fail my driving test? And unfortunately, the answer is yes, but not in all cases. I've had a lot of students fail because of something somebody else did, and it's very unfortunate. Having said that, I've also seen some things that have gone horribly wrong in a driving test, yet the student still passed the test. So we're going to have a look at the difference, because it matters a lot. I've literally had students go through a roundabout, they had right away, the student, somebody else comes through, cuts them off, the assessor has had to intervene, stop the assessment, go back to the department, test over, failed. So obviously you need to know why this can happen, how this can happen, and more importantly, how you can avoid it from happening to you. So here's the reality. We all make mistakes. Drivers aren't perfect, and a lot of drivers make a lot of mistakes a lot of the time. Unfortunately, it's just a byproduct of being on the road with other road users. Now, there's nothing in the book that says if you're driving along, another person makes a mistake, you fail for it. That's ridiculous. Even to a point where another driver could make a really serious mistake that could cause you to just about have an accident with them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to fail your test because of it. The bottom line is this: regardless of the mistake, whether it causes you to fail your test or not really comes down to how you handle the incident. And what do I mean by that? The driving assessor, examiner, who's sitting in this passenger seat and doing your driving assessment, basically wants to know, if I put this person on the road today, if I give them a license and they leave the department today, and so from now on they're driving on their own, are they going to be a problem to themselves, to other people, and importantly, can they handle themselves in different situations? Or are they going to go to custard, panic, and get involved in an accident? Even though it's not their fault, the assessor's asking, okay, if something's about to happen that can be avoided, will the student be able to avoid it, or is it going to cause an accident? Think of it this way. When you've been on the road for a long time, you're going to see a lot of crazy stuff. You're going to be involved in a lot of near misses. People are going to cut you off. People are going to become impatient with you. They're going to steal your car park. They're going to speed past you. They're not going to give you enough indication that they're changing lanes in front of you. They're going to brake suddenly in front of you. That's just day-to-day driving. But for us experienced drivers that have been on the road for 10, 20, 30, 40 years or more, we don't allow these things to escalate. We're generally not getting involved in an accident every time something goes wrong. In other words, if somebody cuts me off, I brake, I avoid the situation, I move on. If the person in front of me is going too slow, I back off my speed. They're doing the wrong thing. They should be going faster, and they're potentially going to cause an accident because they're hesitating, they're disoriented, they're going too slow, whatever, but I adjust my driving accordingly so as to avoid having an accident with them, even though they're the one at fault. If a car beside me overtakes me, pulls in front of me, slows right down, I don't hit into the back of the car. I brake accordingly. I change my car speed, or I change lanes and I look for an opportunity to exit and avoid having a collision. And that all comes down from confidence as a driver, experience as a road user, and just knowing what to do in certain circumstances, because it's happened to me so many times. Now, as a learner driver, you're probably not going to be exposed to those sorts of situations as much until you get on the road and you've been driving for a little bit. But what the assessor wants to see on your test day is that if something does happen, that you're able to adjust your driving and carry on as normal. That's the bottom line. So the short answer to the question, can somebody else on the road cause me to fail my driving test? Yes, they can, based on how you respond to the situation. If somebody does something stupid, you panic, you freeze, you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. The assessor has to intervene. That's an instant fail. Any intervention from an assessor is an instant fail, because you think about what that's showing the assessor. The assessor's in the passenger seat. They have control of the vehicle if they need to. They don't want to control the vehicle, but they don't want to have an accident either. But in their mind, if it comes down to this, hey, if I didn't intervene, if I didn't pull on the handbrake, or if it's a dual control driving school car, if I didn't put my foot on the brake, grab the steering wheel, do something, we would have been involved in an accident. That to me says, me being the assessor, says you're not quite ready to be driving on the road on your own without somebody else in the car, because you showed me and demonstrated that if things go wrong, they're going to go horribly wrong. What the assessor needs to see is if a situation does look like potentially being you involved in an accident, you're able to control it. You're able to avoid having a collision, meaning car pulls in front of you, you're like, hit the brake, change lanes, do whatever you have to do to avoid having an accident. That's not going to fail you. That's going to show the assessor that you have the maturity, the skill, the experience, the confidence to be on the road on your own without anybody else in the car. That's what it comes down to. Having said that, I also once had a student come back. I said to the assessor, oh yeah, how'd he go? Oh yeah, it was great. We did clip a cyclist, but it wasn't enough to make him fail his test. I'm like, you clipped a cyclist? The assessor's like, well, what could we do? We're driving along, we're doing everything right. The cyclist came off the footpath, onto the road, wasn't watching where he was going. We couldn't avoid it. He wasn't watching. He literally pulled in front of us, clipped us, and then kept riding. What could have we done differently? And I get it. Even I couldn't have avoided that. The assessor couldn't have avoided that. Literally, if a cyclist is going to run into the side of your car and keep riding, you wouldn't have had any time to respond to that. That's just crazy. But you can see how something like that isn't a demonstration to the assessor of how you handle yourself. Because literally, that's no different than a bird flying in front of your windshield and being hit. There's nothing you could have done to avoid that. It was like literally in the blink of an eye. The thing is, you didn't panic. You didn't run off the road because of it. You're just like, what the hell was that? And kept driving. And that's what happened with the cyclist. So you can see how different situations warrant a different outcome. Let me know in the comments if you've failed a driving test or know somebody, one of your friends, family, who has failed their driving test because of something somebody else did. And if that situation could have been handled differently, would have you or your friend, your family member, have passed their driving test instead, but can obviously see why the test was failed because the assessor had to intervene. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.